She's a queen, she's a crown, she's a backbone strong.
Hey, beautiful. Yes, you, the woman trying to figure out how to be a godly wife while still keeping your edges laid and your peace intact. Welcome to the Bold and Blessed Black Wives Podcast, where we're talking about the prayers they don't teach you in Sunday school. I'm your host, Tameka, and let me just say if you've ever smiled at your husband while silently praying, Lord, give me the strength before I get this man a piece of my mind, then you are in the right place. Each episode of the Bold and Blessed Black Wives podcast, we're diving deep into wife-specific challenges, such as what to do when you're spiritually on fire but your husband's poly seems to be out. Here's another one: how to pray for his leadership when you're carrying the weight. Ladies, we're building marriages that honor God without erasing you in the process. No more settling for cookie cutter marriage advice that does not consider what it means to be a black woman loving a black man in today's world. So, whether you're driving to work, folding that mountain of laundry, or hiding in the bathroom for 5 minutes apiece, I'm right here with you. Remember, we're not just surviving as wives, we're thriving as women of God who happen to be married. So let's get into today's episode. I'm first going to share a little bit of just about my own journey because I didn't have a typical marriage, didn't have a typical, dating, courtship. None of that was typical the way that we normally think that it should be, right? I met my husband in 1998. Woo, that was so long ago, y'all. 1998, I met my husband, and in 3.5 months, we married. We married in 3.5 months of knowing each other. Like, I'd never met this man before in my life. But I knew that the first time we had a conversation, I knew that he would be in my life for a long time. I didn't know it was going to happen the way that it did, but it did, and I'm glad that it did. But I will tell you that there was a moment when I realized that our marriage was not typical. It wasn't going to be the cookie cutter marriage. It was not going to be, what we've read about in magazines or what we see in magazines. It wasn't, because I was 19. My husband was 22. Yeah, he was 22. So we were young. We were young, and we grew up together. So there was a lot that we learned in our growing up and becoming, and the struggles of evolving, because sometimes the spouse, they're not really interested in the evolving. So and I think that goes on both sides, so we both had to accept each other's evolving and be okay, and also support each other through the evolving of the individual, right? And with our individual evolving, it also evolved our marriage and how we communicated, how we showed up, how we, how we just did everything, how we thought, the way that we decided, the way that we would make our decisions, everything evolved. We got older, we matured, right? I still say to this day that we are still big behind kids because we love to have fun. And I think that's a beauty in all of it as well. I've seen so many married couples, and they don't have fun. They don't laugh. It's just, I'm doing my thing, he doing his, and that's just what it is. And let me just tell you, we were there at a moment as well. My husband, he's really not as outgoing as he used to be. Again, that's what that evolving, right? He's not as outgoing as he used to be. And so at one point that bothered me. I'm just like, bro, I want to go somewhere. Let's go. Let's get up. Let's just, take a impromptu road trip like we used to. And he's like, yeah, nah, I'm not going to do it. But you can go ahead and take a ride, babe. What? So again, this is just me sharing that all marriages are not created the same way. They're not going to have the same journey. They are not going to have the same challenges, and they're definitely not going to have the same resolution to a similar challenge, because it really is about the individual people and what you are putting into your marriage, as well as what you're taking out of the marriage. right? So I created the Uncommon Wife, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me creating that. It wasn't because I wanted just to do a thing, right? And this was created in 2024, in August, to be exact, August 27th of 2024. I wrote it down and I was just like, okay, I don't know who that's for. That's not for me. I'm not trying to talk to anybody about marriage. That is not my specialty. I don't want people in my business, right? So if I don't want people in my business, I'm not trying to have these kind of conversations with everybody. And I tried my hardest to get someone else to, be the host of a show, a summit, a conference, or whatever for the Uncommon Wife, and nobody did. They all were not interested. Okay. And so maybe I should take that as a cue. But, in 2025, it came back to me. I was minding my business, doing all the things that like I normally do in my business, and in my household. And it came back to me. And I had to have another good conversation with God and trying to figure out why. What is this for? Just be even more transparent about this journey of the Uncommon Wife for me, even launching the gatherings and launching this podcast. There was a bit of imposter syndrome, right? I think we all sometimes deal with it. And if you've never dealt with it, congratulations to you. Okay. But, even, in business, there's a lot of times where you don't feel qualified. You don't feel like you are the person to lead a certain thing just because of credentials, certifications, and titles, and all the things that I think we let that get. We get so caught up in ourselves, so caught up in our heads that we have to be a certain way, we have to do a certain thing, look a certain way, drive a certain car, live a certain way. Like, nobody has time for that. Okay. So I literally sat down and had a conversation with God and said, hey, if this is what you would have me do, I need you to make it very plain and very clear so that I can run with that thing. Okay. And that's exactly what he did. So here we are. Here we are with the Uncommon Wife. And the whole mission, the whole goal for the Uncommon Wife is all about helping to unify Black marriages again, but doing it from a way that empowers, educates, inspires, and energizes Black wives. I mean, when we think about it, ladies, when we think about it, we are the leaders, okay? And yes, our husbands are there. They are leading the charge, doing all the things that we need them to do. Hopefully and prayerfully, they are. But even if they're not, that's what you hear for the support, for the support and all of it. But we are still leading when it comes to prayer. We're leading when it comes to parenting. We're leading when it comes to, doing the things, around the house and inspiring our husbands to continue to go as well. Right. And so with that, I wanted to create a safe space for us, a space that really wasn't there as, when I was looking for a community of wives that could pour into me. Um, we're surrounded so much today by couples who are just throwing in the towel. There's just like, at the first sign of trouble, yeah, I didn't sign up for this, I'm out. I'm not doing it no more. Like, that's the attitude that we have, right? I mean, if we can be honest, we probably have all been there one time or two, okay? So, with that, it's more about how do we unify ourselves with our husbands? How do we become more intimate with our husbands, and not necessarily just in a sexual way, but in a conversational way? How do we get to learn and know more about our husbands, even more than we already have, right? And so, again, this is building, this is strengthening, this is all about loving our husbands, all about praying for our husbands, all about learning better ways to manage some of the challenges that we face as Black wives to Black husbands, right? So I want to just tell you again, Welcome to the Bold and Blessed Black Wives podcast. Listen, I'm very intentional about this because that's exactly what God has me doing at this point in my life. I am speaking directly to Black wives, to other women who look just like me, who experience challenges just like me, who are looking for great community just like me, who's also looking for better ways to communicate, better ways to relate, better ways to understand our husbands so that we can have that relationship, that marriage that lasts forever, right? So I want to just tell you that right now it's important. It is important now, right now, to be an uncommon wife. And the uncommon wife, and I'll tell you that the uncommon wife, it stems from being a Proverbs 31 woman. You know, there are qualities of the Proverbs 31 woman, and I believe that those qualities are the same qualities that we should possess as women, as wives, as Black wives, those amazing qualities of the Proverbs 31 woman. And I'll go over those a little bit later in our conversation, just to share some of those qualities that, you know, we as wives, we should have. There's a lot of them, but I'm not going to go over all of them. But there are some that just really stand out when it comes to the characteristics of a Proverbs 31 woman. And you may have heard her be called the virtuous woman. Yes. But right now, it is really important right now to be an uncommon wife. With the pressure on Black women to be everything to everyone, listen, we cannot. We cannot. I'm so glad that I started this podcast, y'all. I'm so glad because there is so much that we need to talk about. There's so many things that we need to address, and not just address, but quickly implement, because some of these things that we're going to talk about, they can be implemented today, not waiting another month, 3 or 6 months down the road to see the change. No, we can start making change now. But there's a lot of pressure on us as Black women to be everything to everybody. You know, so we have the mom. We're mama, we're wives, we are sisters, we are daughters, we're aunts, we're friends, we're co-workers, we're bosses. If we're supervisors, you know, we're supervisors at work, or we may be CEOs of our own companies. And we are expected to be there for everybody in all of those roles all the time. Well, that cannot happen. It cannot happen. You will never be able to be everywhere at the same time and being there for everybody all the time. Eventually, you're going to break down. Eventually, you're going to have to start saying no. And that understanding that no is not just for them. No is for you, because you have to understand that no means no. And you can't go back off of your no. Okay. You got to keep that up. That's called boundaries. Keep it up. But there's also social media pressure. There's so many unrealistic pictures and lifestyles and expectations and comparisons that causes us to think, am I doing enough? Am I not doing enough? Should I be doing more? What more do you need to do? Answer that. What more? If you are doing everything that you can do to be happy in your marriage, to make sure that your husband's happy in your marriage, and he doing the same for you, what more do you need to do? The comparisons is ridiculous. I have a hate relationship with social media, like, just really being honest. I know that a lot of people use it for business. I use it for business as well, but I just don't like looking at all of the unrealistic crap that's being put out every single day. And now that we have AI, oh my God, like, everybody is creating everything because AI allows you to do that. But I digress. But then let's just go back to, you know, traditional marriages. Traditional marriage advice often does not account for what we face as Black couples in our relationship. You know, traditional marriage from 50, 60 years ago, that is not going to be the same advice that we can use and apply in today's time. I mean, just thinking about, you know, when marriage was much simpler way back in the day. I mean, there are challenges, definitely challenges, you know, for Black couples then too, but the advice and the way the lifestyle from 50, 60 years ago is definitely not the same as it is today. And so, it's really more important now to be an oncoming wife, right? Here's another one. Women are silently struggling. I did a conversation, I think last week, on Black wives silently struggling and the frustrations, the animosity, the resentment that can come because we're not speaking up. We're not speaking up about the things that bother us. And that could be for one or more reasons, right? But we have to stop silently struggling, and not having the real conversations that's going to help us thrive as Black wives. And then we have to really address the rising divorce rates. Yes, I talked about this a little earlier, in that people are just so quick to throw in the towel. So quick to throw in the towel. Why? Why do you have little patience? As a matter of fact, let's talk about the traditional times when you used to court, when you used to date each other before jumping into marriage. And I think nowadays people go into marriage thinking that, oh, this gonna be cute. I can't wait for my pictures to pop on social media. OMG, did you see this dress? Yes, girl, I got the dress of my dreams. Okay, but what about having the marriage of your dreams? A godly marriage of your dreams? Like, let's stop focusing so much on the physical crap that we spend too much money on to never wear, to never do again. And let's really focus on really connecting and having real connections so that we can start to take that divorce rate down within our communities. Again, listen, my job is here just to share information, to share my thoughts, and then to open the platform for others to join in sharing inspirational information that allows us to unify and bring back our Black marriages, the beauty of Black marriage. And there are some really great examples of Black marriage that we have seen on our TV screens, on our computers, that's real, right? If you think about people in your family, that have been married for 30, 40 years, those are the people you should be talking to. Talk to them and ask them. Ask them about the challenges that they've had in their marriage, if they're open for sharing. But talk to them about it, right? And find out, how did they resolve their challenges? How did they move forward? How did they continue to love each other and thrive in marriage and stay together for so long? Like, that's the kind of information that you can get, because you can then take what it is that you learn from them and apply it, implement some of the things into your marriage now, right now. So right now, I want to share about what makes you an uncommon wife. Listen, I've been waiting to get to this part. I have been waiting to get to this part. So, an uncommon wife prays boldly, and she prays specifically rather than a vague a vague just prayer, right? She's very specific in her prayer, and she's bold in her prayers to God. She understands the difference between biblical submission and cultural subservience. Yes, there's a difference. We definitely will talk about submission in another conversation. An uncommon wife brings her whole authentic self to her relationship with God and her husband. So she is loving him, big him, and him in the house, okay? Yes, she brings her whole authentic self to the relationship. She creates boundaries that protect her marriage without diminishing herself. Yes, she creates boundaries. Remember, I told you about no. The word no is a boundary word. So she creates those boundaries that protects her marriage without diminishing herself. She recognizes her spiritual authority while honoring her husband's leadership. That is what I was talking about earlier as well. She recognizes her spiritual authority while honoring her husband's leadership. And here's the last thing that I talked about tonight, about what makes a woman a wife, an uncommon wife, she refuses to accept dysfunction as normal. Hey, listen, cut out all that nonsense. Cut it out. We're not doing that, right? She refuses to accept dysfunction. That is not normal. We don't have to argue every day. We don't have to get up and walk around with a chip on our shoulder every day. Why are we doing that? That is dysfunction. That's not normal. Especially if you have children. What are you showing them? Right? No, we're not accepting dysfunction. We're going to call it out for what it is. We're going to address it and we're going to fix it. Okay? We're not addressing and fixing each other, but we're fixing the problem. So I want to share now some benefits of being uncommon. Some benefits of being uncommon are spiritual growth, right? Time with God, unfiltered conversations with God, just laying it all out on the line, believing that He's going to answer your prayers, believing He's going to give you the guidance, believing He's going to nudge you in the right direction if you just happen to veer off a little bit because you're trying to be in alignment with His word for your life, His word for your marriage, His word for your house, your home. Another benefit is that you begin to have a deeper intimacy when you stop performing and start being authentic, okay? You have deeper intimacy when you stop performing and you start just being yourself. Start being you, right? You have the freedom. There's freedom that comes from being an uncommon wife. There's freedom from trying to be the perfect Christian wife. Who is she? Does she exist? Where's she at? Let's talk to her. Right? If you know the perfect Christian wife, I need you to put me in contact with her because I want to have a conversation, right? I want to have a conversation and learn more about what her life is like as a perfect Christian wife because nobody's perfect. Let me just put that out there. Nobody's perfect. So this facade of being the perfect Christian wife, we have to let that go. And you now have the freedom to be you in your marriage. You have the freedom to love, the freedom to, to share, to talk, to respect and be respected, to see and be seen, to hear and be heard. There's freedom from being uncommon. You have a marriage that serves as true ministry and testimony to your community. And believe you me, people are watching, people are looking, people want to know, they want to see, because in general, people are nosy, right? People are nosy in general. So they want to hear, they want to know what's going on behind closed doors. And when you show them that you are authentically being yourself, but that you love each other, you are authentically being yourself, and that you can have constructive conversations that people would consider arguments, right? But you're showing respect to each other, even in those times of quote unquote arguments or disagreements, because the community is looking for an example. So why not you? Why can't you be that example? Why can't your marriage be a true testimony and a true ministry to your community? But here's the overall benefit of being an uncommon wife. Oh my gosh. And I'm speaking from experience, okay? There's greater peace in your home when both of you feel seen, heard, and valued, okay? There's so much peace in your home when both of you feel seen, heard, and valued. So listen, I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited about the Bold and Blessed Black Wives podcast. I'm excited to be sharing these conversations. I'm excited to be in this moment. I'm excited to be in alignment with God's will and God's desire for my life and what I'm supposed to be doing. No more running away. No more trying to put it off on anybody else. I'm just authentically sharing, and I'm authentically being Tameka, right? If you've ever been in my company, you've ever had a conversation with me, you're going to hear a couple of bruhs. You're going to hear some country slang because I'm a country girl from Louisiana, okay? You're going to hear a couple of things. But just know that it's Tameka all day long. There is no extra. There's no other way you're going to hear me talk. No other way you're going to see me show up. I'm going to just be me, comfortable, casual. I mean, I can dress up a time or two. I don't have a problem with that. But I'm really at home in my comfortability, okay? Some jeans and a t-shirt, um, some sweatpants and a t-shirt. I'm comfortable just being me, and that's how I want us all to be. I want us all to be able to authentically show up as ourselves, enjoying life, enjoying who we are becoming, but also enjoying our marriages, enjoying the love within our marriage. So here's a few things that I need you all to do. Just a few things, right? Um, this call to action is I would love for you all to register for the Uncommon Wife Gathering on April 28th by visiting wifegathering428.eventbrite.com, or you can visit our website, theuncommonwife.com, and you'll see it there on the site as well on the events page. But I would love for you all to join us at the upcoming gathering. We had an amazing time at our inaugural one in March, where we had one of our marriage mentors come through and share amazing inspirational message, and really thought-provoking content that allowed us to take action that day as soon as we got off the call, right? And that's what it's all about, being in a community that helps, supports, provide resources, but also holds you accountable to doing a thing, right? And also, when you join us, when you register to join us for the Uncommon Wife Gathering, you'll also be in our email list, where for the next, I think until April 21st, we are sharing a 21-day marriage transformation. Yes, 21-day marriage transformation for Black couples, for Black wives and Black men, right? So I would love for you all to join us on April 28th for the Uncommon Wife Gathering. So here's my church notes, okay? I got my church announcements. Y'all ready for this? Yes, church announcements. Number one, visit our website, theuncommonwife.com. Read all about what it is that we have going on, what it is that we're doing. And if you're inspired to do so, join the community. I believe it is $14.99 a month, where you'll have access to everything on our, you just go to uncommonwife.com, go to the community page. You'll see everything that comes with being a part of the community. We would love to have you there. We would love to have you join us. Let's see, the next thing we have coming up. Oh, register for the She's Uncommon Summit. Yes, that is coming up on May 18th. On May 18th, we are hosting our first summit for the Uncommon Wife. It's called She's Uncommon, right? That's the name of the summit. Super duper excited about that. We have some amazing Black wives and women who will be coming through, sharing tips, tools, resources, all the things that's going to help us thrive as Black wives that day. Okay, again, we are not waiting until a month, 2 and 3 and 6 and 12 months from now. We're doing things and implementing things on that day immediately, because again, our job right now is to come together more than ever. I mean, if we look at the economy right now, we don't have a choice. We need to be coming together. We need to be sticking together, and that means keeping our marriages intact. Not just staying there just to be there. No, we want to be in. We want to be married. We want to be loved. We want to be in love. We want our marriages. We want our Black men to rise to the occasion the way that we know that they can. Right? So that is the She's Uncommon Summit on May 17th. So make sure when you go to the uncommonwife.com website, register for that as well. It's absolutely free, not a charge. As a matter of fact, I would love for you all to invite others to join us for any of these, the gathering as well as the summit. Everything's absolutely free. All of this information is free. The only thing that will be a cost is the community at $14.99 a month, right? What else do we have? What is that? Oh, the Bold and Blessed Black Wives podcast. I need you all to, one, follow the Uncommon Wife YouTube page. Tune in to this episode. Give me some feedback. Let me know your thoughts on what I've talked about today. Again, today's title is Breaking the Good Wife Code. Absolutely. We are breaking the good wife code, and we are becoming uncommon wives, uncommon Black wives. And so thank you all for tuning in to today's first episode of the Bold and Black Bold and Blessed Black Wives podcast. I'm your host, Tameka Chapman. I look forward to seeing you and listening from and hearing from you on next Sunday. But I also look forward to seeing you at some of our events. All right, you all have a good evening. Stay blessed. Love you.
When he's weak, she reminds him who he is to be. She's a safe place, yeah, she keep that energy.